IVM.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Positively Unlimited podcast. But before I tell you what today is about, you tell me, how did you like last week's episode? I got quite a few responses from a bunch of y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to my podcast week after week. I love doing these episodes only because I know that somewhere it has an impact on you and it's helping you figure your way out. Well, today I'm talking about an unhealthy habit that a lot of us seem to have developed. Today we're talking about S for self-sabotage. Now, what does that mean? It means blocking your own path. It means making it harder for your own self to succeed, to accomplish things, to achieve, to even do the simple things that you, maybe want to do. Why do we do it? There may be many reasons. It may be stemming from a belief. It may be conditioning. It may be because of something that you've been told since childhood. And sometimes it can just be a bad habit. Think about this. How many times you have really wanted to do something good for yourself? And how often do you end up making it very hard for yourself? I'll tell you a very simple and obvious one that most of us do. When you get up and say that I'm going to work out every day, and then you say, I will wake up every day at 5 a.m. and go for a run. Now here's the problem. You've never jogged in your entire life. You've always ever walked, and that too very inconsistently. The gym is not your favorite place, and you aren't a morning person. So what have you done? You have set yourself up for failure. So you wake up the next day because you're excited and you're ready to do this. And you don't even manage to run for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You are frustrated with yourself. You are unhappy with yourself. You realize how unfit you really are. And you come back feeling really dejected and disappointed. And all of this is at 6:10 in the morning. You've been awake for about 30 minutes or so, of which the last 10 minutes are enough to ensure that the rest of your day is going to go really badly. So why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just walk for 30 minutes every day at 5 in the evening instead? Think about it. What is important? Is the 6 a.m. important to you? Is the running important to you? Or is getting a workout in important to you? Let me give you another way that we self-sabotage ourselves. When we get into a new relationship and we do all the things that we know we shouldn't be doing, trying to mess everything up. There are subtle things like picking a fight for no reason, being irritable, throwing tantrums, acting pricey. Bunch of things that we will do. And they may not be our basic nature. Outside of the relationship, we don't have any of these behaviors coming up. But the moment that we got into a relationship, all of it comes spilling out. What are you doing? You are sabotaging your one desire that you really want to experience right now, which is a beautiful, loving relationship. Now, this could be because you don't believe you deserve a relationship or that you are worthy of love. It could be because you have tremendous amounts of fear, or it could just be about creating difficult situations so that the person leaves you and goes, and you can then sit back in that narrative of yours that, look, everyone leaves me and goes. Now, we self-sabotage ourselves in many different ways. I've just about given 2 examples. We do this at work, we do this at home, we do this in every relationship of ours. We do it with our own selves. Many times. Some of us do it more often and in almost everything, while the rest of us do it sometimes in specific areas of our life. So the first thing that you want to do is ask yourself, how am I sabotaging my own self and my life? And if that's a hard question to answer, try answering this one. How am I being my own enemy? Let me simplify that a little more for you. How am I failing to be my own best friend? If you can answer this question, you will figure out where you are going wrong. Now, if you're someone who's listening to that and saying, I still can't think about it, spend the next week observing yourself and mark out anything that you are doing to yourself that is not good, that is negative, that is harmful, that your best friend would not do to you. Yes, so you need to bring your best friend's face and name in your mind and literally start assessing how you are treating yourself, asking yourself, would he or she do this to me? Would he or she talk to me this way? Would he or she block my path in this manner? Now, what will happen over this week is you will recognize many areas in which you are not treating yourself well, but you will also recognize how you are sabotaging your own self, your own desires, and your own life. Now, how do you undo this? Well, the rule is pretty much the same, and it's as simple as the previous question I asked you. Don't do anything that your best friend wouldn't do to you. Treat yourself exactly the way your best friend treats you. So if you go to your best friend and say that I want to go backpacking across the world, your best friend will be a sounding board and say, are you sure? Do you really want to do this? Do you have the money? What's the plan? Etc. And either right in the beginning or at some point during this conversation, he or she will be very excited and tell you to completely go for it and do this, and that he or she is there for you. Now, this is how you want to treat your own self. This is how you want to treat all your ideas. This is how you want to support yourself. Other ways in which we self-sabotage ourselves. Well, we question everything that we do, and we doubt ourselves for every breath that we take. Now, how do you counter this? You counter this by listening to the episode called Victor Spirit versus Victim Energy. You listen to another episode called Self-doubt. And you definitely listen to the episode called But What If? In order for us to stop sabotaging our own selves, we need to start treating ourselves better. And yes, the ground rule is don't do anything to yourself that your best friend wouldn't do to you, or rather treat yourself exactly as your best friend treats you. And once you keep this in mind, this rule, and start acting upon it, you start having more constructive conversations with yourself, and you take the tools from those other episodes that I have mentioned and implement them. Because it's about time that you become your loudest cheerleader. It's about time that you treat your own self with love and respect. Yes, that's the word, respect. It's time to support your own being wholeheartedly. It's time to unconditionally accept and love yourself wholeheartedly. And on that note, I'm going to head out from here. I hope you find this episode helpful and that really simple tip that I've given you helpful. I'm going to catch you again next Monday. Until then, lots of love and hugs, and keep sending me those messages on Instagram. My handle is Positivity Angel. All the previous episodes that I have mentioned, you can listen to them on the IVM app and IVM website. And you can also get in touch with us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handles are IVM Podcasts. So catch you online on social media, as well as looking forward to hearing from you on what you thought of this episode.
I hope you enjoyed that show. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Paytm Money. Some really fun guests on the network this week. Cyrus welcomed Dia Mirza to come and have a conversation about all kinds of different things. Danny Morrison was on Edges and Sledges, the cricket podcast. If you haven't heard that, that's always a fun listen. And Rahul Subramanian was on Football Should Fall to grow their ever more exciting list of guests. And it's not just that. Mantra Mugdha, old friend of ours, was on Advertising is Dead. Manu Pillai was on the Filter Coffee podcast. It's been one great guest after the other. And with that, we hope to catch you again next week.
Are you constantly seeking happiness? Wondering how to make the most of every day? How not to let your inhibitions stop you from achieving your goals? It's now time to get your A game on. It's time to unlock your true potential. Tune in to the Empowering series with me, Zarina Poonawalla, to feel empowered in all genres of life, from behavioral skills to management skills, from health to relationships, from mental well-being to emotional well-being, and of course your finances. I've got you covered. With these tips and tricks from me, Zarina, and true life stories from my amazing guests, you're bound to bring your purest to the table. Tune in to the Empowering series with Zarina Poonawalla every Thursday on the IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you listen to podcasts.